Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'll walk you through the process of creating an embedded request link using the BoldSign Java SDK. If you're new to the BoldSign API, check out our previous videos. Links are in the description below to help you get started with the application. I'll start by installing the BoldSign Java SDK in my project. Make sure you have installed Java version 1.8 or higher. You can install the BoldSign Java SDK using Maven or Gradle. I'll use Maven for this tutorial. Add this dependency to your project's pom.xml file. Next, run mvn clean, install in your terminal to install the API client library into your local Maven repository. Since I have already installed the Java SDK, I confirm the setup by running this command, which displays the installed version in my project directory. To create an embedded request link, I navigate to the developer documentation, copy the Java code snippet for creating an embedded request link, and paste it into a newly created Java file. Next, I update the code. In the API client, I set the API key to connect with BoldSign services. If you haven't created your API key yet, you can create one in the BoldSign web app on the API key page in the API section. The document API object initializes the interface you'll use to perform all document-related operations, such as sending documents via the SDK. Since the signature field is already included in the code, I'll configure its position to define where the signer will place their signature. You can add additional form fields if needed. Next, I define the signer details using the document signer object. Here, I provide the signer's name, an email address. Set the signer type to signer and associate the signature field I just created. If I had multiple signers, I could define them all here. After setting up the signer, I move on to creating the embedded document request. This is the main request object used to create the embedded send request. I add the document I need to send for signature by setting its file path. Next, let's look at the additional properties for customizing the request URL. First, the send view option configures the initial page that loads from the generated URL. You can set this to either the filling page or the prepare page. The filling page allows you to configure document properties such as setting signer details and uploading files, while the prepare page enables you to configure form fields for the signers. I set the send view option to the prepare page, since I already have the document ready and want the sender to review it before sending it for signature. I then set the show toolbar property to true to display the toolbar in the embedded interface. It provides tools for navigating the document and making final changes before sending it for signature. To further enhance the sender's experience, BoldSign provides several toolbar customization options. By default, most toolbar actions are enabled, but you can disable any of them by setting the corresponding property to false. In this video, I'll hide the navigation button by setting Show Navigation Button to false. Since the send view option is set to prepare page and the document is already predefined, users only need to configure form fields on the prepare page, preventing unnecessary navigation back and forth during document creation. If you want to enable the tooltip, set its property to true. I set the document title. Once all configurations are in place, I call create embedded request URL document and pass in our request object. I then run the sample. The response includes a request URL link, which can be used to embed directly inside your application. The document created for using the embedded request will remain in the draft state until the user completes it and sends it out for signature. I copy the generated embedded request URL link and paste it into the browser. Since I set the send view option to prepare page, the document immediately opens in the prepare page view. This page allows the sender to review the document before sending it for signature. You'll notice that the navigation button is hidden since we disabled it in our code. Next, I'll show you how to embed this link within an iframe. I navigate to the developer documentation and copy the code snippet for embedding the URL in an iframe. I paste this into my HTML file, set the request URL to the source attribute, and adjust its height. I then run the sample. The HTML file opens in the browser. The prepare page is rendered inside the iframe. This means the document preparation interface is now fully embedded within your application. Now let's take it one step further and customize the toolbar using client-side triggers. I go back to the JavaScript, where I change the show toolbar property to false to hide the default toolbar completely. However, I enable specific toolbar actions, save, send, and preview, by setting them to true in the request object. I then run the script again to generate the embedded request URL with these updated toolbar configurations. I update the iframe source in the HTML file. To bring back key actions in a more customized way, I copy the code for creating custom toolbar buttons from the developer documentation and paste it into the HTML file. I also add the corresponding scripts for button actions like save, preview, and send. These will improve interactivity of the iframe. Last, I add the client-side event handlers below the script tag, especially the onCreateSuccess event, which confirms that the document was successfully sent for signing. I add an alert that displays a success message when this event is triggered and run the sample. The HTML file opens in the browser. The custom toolbar buttons are now rendered. I can click Preview to preview the document and then exit the preview by clicking Exit Preview. I save changes by clicking the Save button. Finally, I click the Send Document button to send the document for signing. The document has now been successfully sent for signing, and the onCreateSuccess event is triggered, displaying an alert message. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to our channel for more BoldSign API tutorial videos.